Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. It is Wednesday the 13th of December, and yesterday we also had the S&P market moving higher, and it's getting closer and closer to the all-time high at 48.18. We are only less than a couple of hundred points from there, and the market looks fairly strong. There's no divergence on the daily RSI, indicating we are likely to see higher levels. There will be correction days, of course. There will be setback days, so one should expect that. So it will be bumpy though, but still, I think we will reach the peak here, and also I think we will see a new all-time high. Possibly around Christmas, possibly first week of the new year. It's hard to say for sure when it will hit that, of course. And of course, there's not such a thing as a given thing in financial markets, but this is what the indicators are telling me at the moment. So one should, of course, be cautious. We reached the 138.2 projection on the Nasdaq 100 of this little minor correction here, and I think we will see a move up to around 16,500, 16,600 and a change here in the coming days and possibly weeks. Of course, we do have some road bumps on the way also for that one, and especially if we do break below 15,744, well then this entire bullish picture will be demolished. Moving on to the European markets, we have the Euro stocks, and all European markets for that matter, moving higher. We have Euro stocks 50. It actually did form this. It's not a perfect inverted hammer, and so it's not really an inverted hammer. But what is interesting is that it actually shot up and then died towards the end. So we could see some cracks in this. I was really strong uptrend here, and we also have the RSI that is an extreme. We are almost at 80. I think we will see over the next couple of days, we will see some corrections. If you're long, I would keep my stops tight. So we should see a correction soon. I know I said a couple of times now, a couple of days, but still we are very stretched. However, when we see that correction, I don't expect it to be that large. I still expect a fairly positive markets going into the end of the year. DAX also very strong uptrend here. Extreme. I went back several decades on DAX to look for RSI levels, and I have never seen them at 84, as you can see here, 84, 85. I never seen this high, and not for such a long time. So it is really stretched uptrend. We are in a need of a correction before a possible higher level going into the end of the year and the first week of the new year. AEX Amsterdam actually formed a hammer, inverted hammer pattern here. It should be noted, just a hammer is not necessarily at a peak or a top and reversal pattern. It depends what the next candle is. So we will see that later today and tomorrow. What will it draw here? But it could be, again, there's no divergence on the RSI. It is quite stressed, almost at 80 on the RSI, so really, really stressed, but there's no resistance until the 795, and as we look at the weekly, there's also room up to 830, 829, 830. So there's still room up there, but I mean, this uptrend here is extremely stretched at the moment, and we should see a correction. There will be correction, of course, and that's what we're looking for. However, it seems like investors are afraid of missing out on this one, so everyone is jumping on the bandwagon at the moment. So be careful, I'm just saying that. The Belgian market at the moment, yesterday it actually did spike above 37.28. Trying again today. Let's see if it can actually stay above. If it does close above, well, then there's room up to the peaks over here, which is around 38.23, around that level. And we are in an uptrend. There's no divergence. So despite a correction, I believe it will move higher. It's just keep an eye out for it. CAC 40 also higher above the 75.26 resistance, and now it's looking at the 75.81, which is the all-time high, and we are very close to that. We actually spiked above it, but we didn't close above. So let's see if we can do that here in the coming days and maybe even today. But again, all European markets extremely stretched. The SMI not so stretched though. Resistance at 11,245. I think it will be rejected at first take, and then we will see a little bit of correction, possibly down to just above 11,000, 11,100, and then we'll see next upwards move. That's my take at the moment. Again, it's not advice, it's not a promise, but still we are quite stressed across the board. On the euro dollar, it did test the 108.25 yesterday, just spiked a little bit above, but it didn't close above. I think what you should keep an eye on now is that is the resistance, and this is to support 107.30. In that range, it needs to break that range. I believe it will be to the upside, as we can see here, the 55 moving average coming up. There's no divergence on the RSI. It is still in a positive sentiment, so I think we will see a break to the upside, and then we could see a move towards the 110 in the coming weeks. But again, look out for this range. That is the key. If it does break low to the downside, then we are looking at 106.60 level. Cable, sterling dollar, weaker this morning. I think we will see a setback to around 124.80, possibly one key support at 124.45. That should be observed. But also here we have the 200 moving average coming up here. As you can see, we have the 55 coming up. So even if we get a further downside or downwards pressure here, I think the support around 124.45 will hold, but a little bit larger than correction. There's a little bit divergence here on the peaks here, so that was justified to get a correction, but I think we'll move higher in coming weeks. Dollar yen, which has been the talk of the town, of course, and one of the most traded pairs at the moment. Just taking it easy today after a little bit of volatility yesterday. So the direction here, well, I would like to see a break below 144.70, and I want to see a break above 147.50 for any direction. I know it's a wide range, but that's how it is when we have all this massive range here from the other day. So let's see. I think the downside pressure could come back. We have the negative RSI and still in a limbo around 40, but I think we will see a downwards pressure later on. But again, look out for the resistance right there at 147.50. Euro yen, also 157.70. A closer break below. I actually think a break is enough, and then we'll see a move towards the 159.65 level, which is the 61.8 retracement that could be seen. If it gets rejected once again, well then move down to around 155. I think it's in the cards. Aussie yen. Also, 96.10, around that level, we have some resistance. At break above, well, then we're looking at 96.70, possibly higher. We have the 21 moving average coming down there, kind of putting a little bit of lid on there. So there's a little bit of resistance from that. But what is the strong resistance is currently the 55 moving average here, as you can see, around 96.10. Also a little bit heavy. We have the RSI in a negative sentiment, so we could drift lower. But what is interesting, Aussie yen did not at any time close below the cloud area here, the shaded area, and that's also a bull-bear indicator. So that is also something to keep an eye on. Dollar index, 104.40 to the upside, and 103.22 to the downside. A break below, well, then we are looking at 102, possibly lower to 101.62. If it does break above 104.40, I think the upside are limited, possibly up to around 105.23, where we also have the 55 moving average actually coming down here, and that will also kind of putting a lid on the upside potential if we do break above 104.40. Gold is worth to keep an eye on also this morning, as once again testing the 1975 level, which is the 786 of this uptrend here. So it is very much in a limbo also. I know I said it for a few of the FX pairs also, but it is really in a limbo. What is interesting is, or what you should keep an eye on, is that we have the 55, we have the 100 and 200 moving average coming up here, giving some support, so we could spike further down, but I don't think we will take out the support at 1930, but it is not unlikely we could spike a little bit lower. But also here we have the RSI above 40, so we're still in positive sentiment. There's no divergence on the peaks, on the peak here, so we should technically move higher. And at the moment we are more or less trading sideways out of the falling trend line here on the RSI. So that's key also to look out for, that it doesn't close below 40. The silver is, as we speak, below the 786 retracement and 2275, currently testing the lower part of the cloud. So it is actually also in technical terms in a bearish trend or bearish sentiment. We have the RSI below 40 supporting that, but if it can bounce back above, well, then it was a little bit of a false break. So I would be a little bit careful about silver there. It could bounce back towards 23.5, but keep an eye on that one. Not much to say about copper really. It's still hovering around these 382 level. Now we are back below. If it does take out the lows here from a couple of days from last week, then at 372, well, then we could see a move down towards 365. But we also have the 55 moving average coming up here, kind of indicating that there's an underlying positive trend. Same with the RSI, still in a positive sentiment, and there's no divergence on the tops there. Very quickly on the oil, drifting lower, not surprisingly, as we spoke about the past couple of days, we are now back in this consolidation area here, and we could see WTI testing the 67 troughs down here. And on Brent, also the same picture, around 72, I think it would be tested. What is interesting, we just very quickly, I know the time is running, we are back in this area here. We are very close to these lows here. We are actually below the 200 weekly on the Brent, and if we just switch back very quickly to the WTI, also back below the 200 moving average on WTI. So some key support levels here around 64 and 62. Finally, let's just talk a little bit about the US Treasury yields. Still trying to get above this falling trend line. Keep an eye on that. Is very key. If it can break above it, well, then there's suddenly move potential to 436, 445 even, which is the 38 true retracement of this downtrend here. That's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.